Hi friends, it's Miss Anderson and I'm here with you today to do a fall art project. We're going to be drawing and painting a scarecrow. Scarecrows are common as symbols of the autumn or the fall because the fall is the harvest time, and that is when the scarecrows are out in the field and they are protecting the crops from crows and other big birds that might eat the crops. So today we're going to do a scarecrow because it is the autumn and they're kind of a fun decoration for Thanksgiving. So we're going to start, and whatever you have at home, I'm using a black crayon. If you have an oil pastel, that works as well. What else could you use? I guess you could use a colored pencil. Crayons work best, okay? So we're going to start our drawing today. I'm using a big paper, but you might have a little smaller paper. I'm just going to draw a trapezoid shape at the top of my paper. Okay? It's not the best, straightest trapezoid, but that's okay. We're going to draw another line under the trapezoid, about 1 finger away, and notice that it's wider than the hat. Then I'd like you to draw a little line going in like this toward the center of the paper, and one over here as well. Then you're going to take those lines and connect them to the hat. Now our hat has a brim. The next thing we're going to draw is our scarecrow's face, and it's going to be big. We're going to start over here, we're going to end up over here, so it's going to be like a big, U shape. And there we go. Okay. Big U shape indeed, right? All right. So for my scarecrow, I'm going to make some triangle eyes, because I like triangle eyes. And I'm going to add a pupil, which is a little black spot that goes inside. I'm coloring it in with my black crayon, and I'm leaving a little white spot. Okay. For my nose, I'm going to do another triangle. And then I'm going to switch to oil pastel. Because my crayon's kind of broken. I'm going to draw some circles for cheeks. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a big smile in between the cheeks. And because our scarecrows are usually made with burlap and material or fabrics that have stitches, you can often see the stitches. So that's why I drew some lines going across the mouth so that it looks like stitches. And up here on the hat, I'm going to draw what looks like tic-tac-toe, but I'm going to do about 5 lines. That makes our hat look like it is made of fabric or material, and honestly, I don't love this hat. I don't think it looks that good. Maybe the hat should be a little wider. All right. So for our scarecrow's body, we're just going to draw 2 lines going off the paper like this on a curve. Okay. Let's give him a jacket or a coat. I like to add some buttons. And then we're going to give him some arms, so you could just draw 2 little lines in here. Looks like he's got arms. Now when you make a scarecrow, you stuff it with straw. And so I like to draw the straw here under the hat and also around the collar. And I call these French fry shapes, which I know is kind of funny. Long, skinny rectangles, like French fries. So make some skinny rectangles sticking out. I'm going to turn my paper a little bit because then my hand won't get in my oil pastels. This is the straw. All right, now I'm going to do some straw for hair. If you're doing a girl, maybe you want long straw. You could also add eyelashes. I'm just keeping this simple. Now for the next step, we're going to be watercolor painting these. So let me finish this little guy. There he is. And make sure everything can be seen. I'll make the nose a little darker. Eyes a little darker. And then you're going to be painting with watercolors. Now, these are kind of expensive watercolors, the good ones that I buy for my students. But you can get watercolors from the dollar store. I'm going to try using them for this project, okay? So watercolors only work with water. So over here on the side, I have a little Tupperware cup with some water and some brushes in it. I like to start painting at the top of my paper first because that means I don't have to drag my hand through it. So these watercolors are the only difference between these and the ones that I buy for school. They're a little lighter. They're not quite as dark. But if you want to go buy some watercolors, I recommend you go to the Dollar Tree and pick up a set like this. They work pretty well. You probably notice that I'm dipping my water and then just really swirling my brush around and around and around. That helps make the color darker. So if you want darker purple or darker whatever color you want, just keep swishing your brush. All right, for my face, I'm going to go with brown. Now the hardest part about this is to paint around all those little straw pieces, those French fry shapes. But if you take your time, you can do it. And I'm working out with my dollar store watercolors here. They're looking pretty good. Notice I don't have any big puddles, but if by accident you got a big puddle on your page, let me see if I can make one happen. Let's say you had a big puddle. All you need to do is take a tissue and you want to just lay it over and press down. You don't want to rub and scrub. If you rub and scrub, then your brown paint will be everywhere, okay? But it's okay to dab paint off with a tissue while you're painting. That's how you fix mistakes. I've never made a scarecrow. I think it'd be kind of fun. All right, my face is finished. I'm going to go with some pink for the cheeks. This watercolor set has a really bright pink. Whoops, need a little more water. So you can paint your hat and your coat whatever color you want, your nose, obviously. It's your art. And I'm using a medium-sized brush, so that's kind of good. I think these would make a great decoration in your house. You could even color this with markers if you wanted, or colored pencils or crayons. I just like to paint. I think it's been a while since we've painted, some of us. It's always good to paint. Notice how I'm making all my straw the same color. You could change that if you wanted to, obviously. I just think it's better if it's all yellow. All right, I think my coat is going to be blue. Yeah, I do like the dollar store watercolors, I have to say. They are not the worst watercolors I've ever used. And I kind of like the way they're set up with a little palette with all the colors together. It's kind of neat. So if you have $1, try going and buying these paints. Whoops. I don't think the brush that they come with is great, but you could use it if you wanted to. I want to show you a perfect thing. Do you see how Miss Anderson painted? Zoom in. Okay, right here on my piece of straw, down at the bottom here, I painted blue over the yellow, and I'd like to get rid of that. See that right there? So I'm going to take some clean water, brush over it with my brush, and then take that same tissue and soak it up. And it'll take that color that you didn't want off. So that's how you fix your watercolors if you go over them with the wrong color. All right, my coat and hat are finished. You could do a little more of this before you paint, of course, more of this stitching kind of looking stuff on there. That would be kind of neat on the coat. So I need to go back. I forgot one of my buttons, and I want to make this a little darker. And the last thing I would do is paint the sky behind my scarecrow. But I think we're going to wrap it up. If you want your colors to be a little darker, just go back over with a second coat of watercolor. Don't forget to dip it in the water. If you want your eyes to be a color, you can do that. Let's give our scarecrow some, how about some blue eyes? I'm just going to do this. Whoops. There we go. Now I'm not going to paint the background because you've been watching me paint for a while. But here's one that I painted and the background is all finished. Okay. So we have one here done with dollar store watercolors and one done with expensive watercolors. They're both fun. They both make a cool decoration for Thanksgiving. Let me show you how. There we go. Got to darken it up a little bit. So make sure you paint around your scarecrow and then set it somewhere to dry and then hang it up in your house for a decoration. I hope you had fun.